In the dead silence of a midnight hour in 1623, a heart-wrenching scream shattered the marble walls of Topkapi Palace. It wasn't the groan of a battle wound or the cry of a captured enemy. No, these were the screams of a 15-year-old girl, Princess Fatma Sultan, daughter of the most powerful ruler on earth. Her cries sliced through the corridors like blades of ice, and even the eunuchs guarding the doors backed away in terror, too scared to interrupt this forbidden moment. What happened that night wasn't just some family tragedy. It was the unveiling of the hidden price every sultan's daughter had to pay. A price etched into their flesh and soul, one that official history tried to bury for 600 years. Those screams didn't come from physical wounds, but from a secret ritual that broke the spirit before the body, dooming these princesses to a life in shadows before they even became women. For over 6 centuries, the Ottoman Empire enforced a marriage preparation protocol so sinister that not even the throne's fiercest enemies would wish it on their own daughters. It was a system carefully erased from the chronicles, hidden behind tapestries and golden walls, only rediscovered centuries later in 2019 thanks to documents unearthed in Istanbul's secret archives. Millions around the world, from peasants to court ladies, dreamed of living like Ottoman princesses, surrounded by silk, jewels, and servants. But behind those glittering walls, not luxury, but a nightmare so refined that many of these young girls begged for death over their wedding night. And now, in this story, you and I are about to witness the truth that's been locked away for 6 centuries. Get ready, because what you're about to discover isn't a fairy tale. It's a horror story dressed up as imperial ceremony. Before we dive in, I need you to do something. If this has already chilled your heart, hit that like button to show your interest, subscribe, and drop in the comments the name of a queen or princess whose dark fate you want us to reveal next. Maybe Marie Antoinette, Cleopatra, or Anne Boleyn. Your voice picks the next secret time tried to bury. All right, let's go. Join me and find out why so many Ottoman princesses, born in palaces of gold, chose the cold embrace of the grave over their wedding destiny. The Ottoman Empire, vast as an endless ocean, it cast its shadow for over 6 centuries, from 1299 to 1922. It tamed 3 continents, with armies roaring from Vienna's walls to Yemen's burning sands. After Constantinople fell in 1453, the city became Istanbul, the beating heart of Ottoman power. Topkapi Palace rose as its shining jewel. There, amid golden walls and scented courtyards, kingdoms and souls were decided. In those secret chambers, hidden behind lattices and endless halls, the imperial harem became a parallel world. Over 800 women lived there during its peak, a universe sealed tight, woven with silk and power, where every breath was watched, every glance could mean rise or ruin. From 1530, when Suleiman the Magnificent gave his wife Harem the title Haseki Sultan, the harem wasn't just for pleasure. It became a stage for intrigues, alliances, and quiet women's wars. Concubines, mostly Christian slaves captured from distant European lands or bought in North African markets, arrived at the seraglio with dreams of climbing the ranks. Their days, filled with music, embroidery, poetry, and obedience rituals, all hoping to catch the Sultan's eye and trade slavery for power. Ironically, these uprooted girls often had more freedom than the princesses born at the top. The Sultanate of Women, from 1533 to 1656, showed female influence loud and clear. Women like Kösem Sultan or Turhan Hatice Sultan pulled the strings, guiding councils, deciding wars, writing Ottoman history with iron hands. But while they rose as power players, the blood princesses, trapped in a darker maze. They were diplomatic pawns, human coins, sealing pacts, quelling rebellions, or securing loyalty from mighty pashas. This is where Princess Fatma Sultan enters the scene, born in 1606 to Sultan Ahmed I and the fearsome Kösem, that woman who ruled from the shadows like an emperor herself. Fatma grew up amid scented gardens and astronomy lessons, Arabic and Persian manuscripts, scholars praising her smarts, chroniclers admiring her beauty. But neither her knowledge, her talent, nor her mother's protection could save her from a fate written at birth, handed over in marriage as a power guarantee. The chosen groom, Damat Kara Mustafa Pasha, a battle-hardened commander, 20 years her senior, his loyalty forged in Persian campaigns. No love, no choice, no mercy. Just cold imperial politics. For him, a ladder to more power. For her, the start of tragedy. Imagine this. From her earliest years, Fatma was exceptional. She spoke 4 languages fluently, mastered Arabic and Persian calligraphy like a poet, and hungered to unlock the star's mysteries. Palace scholars called her a prodigy, debating history, law, and geography with the wise. But that brilliance, useless against the destiny lurking behind Seraglio walls. Her life wasn't hers. From birth, her future was scripted on invisible parchments, married off for alliances, no matter her will. So the match fell to Kara Mustafa Pasha, a war commander toughened by Persian battles, 20 years older. No spark of affection, just calculated power. He sought promotion. She, a teen, became a sacrificial piece on the imperial board. 3 months before the wedding, the dreaded preparation began. Terviliva Mubarak, the sacred education. This ritual, unique to princesses, had no equal in any other culture. It was centuries of refined psychological control designed to shatter royal pride and reshape it into unbreakable obedience. Leading the training, Gulnar Hatun, a 60-year-old harem chief, veteran of preparing over a dozen princesses. Under her iron watch, Fatma was led to the Gelin Odası, the bride's chamber, decked with Persian rugs and ebony panels, every detail screaming her fate. From dawn to noon, she practiced reverence rituals. Master 18 different bows, postures for greeting, serving, lying down, silently awaiting her husband. Even walking became discipline. The Yurish Veseche, measured steps, head tilted at 30 degrees, hands never rising above the heart. Each move erased her princess dignity, molding her into a docile, submissive figure. But speech? That was the cruelest torment. Her vocabulary slashed to just 43 allowed words. Expressions of thanks, acceptance, humble pleas, or apologies. Any slip, any free thought, punished with forced fasts, reflection cell lockups, or public humiliations. The princess faced a tribunal of women and eunuchs, presided by Kosem herself, judging her obedience like market currency. And the most disturbing part, the first night rehearsals, Talim Vergerdek. In palace basements, exact replicas of bridal chambers stood, with wax mannequins crafted by Venetian artisans. There, under stern instructors' eyes, Fatma rehearsed gestures and acts no girl her age should know. Every reaction noted: fear, tears, resistance. Any rejection sign: more sessions, more pain, more conditioning. Bit by bit, the star-loving girl transformed into a docile body, a tamed spirit, prisoner of a ritual stripping her identity. Princess Fatma, no longer Sultan's daughter, just apprentice to her duty. The training didn't stop at postures, walks, or imposed silence. Fatma endured tests breaking not just her body, but her soul. Any resistance sign, a proud glance, a misplaced sigh. Harsh punishment. It could be prolonged fasting to exhaustion, damp reflection room confinement, or humiliating ritual repeats before the full female court, like a disobedient slave. Added to physical control, mental purification. Fatma memorized verses from Ottoman and Persian treatises on marital obedience, recited aloud before concubines and eunuchs as judges. Texts from Al-Ghazali's Nasihat al-Muluk and fragments of Akhlaqi Nasiri. Words praising submission, sacrifice, marital duty as supreme virtues. The princess who once recited love poems and astronomy now echoed verses dulling her will. Voice faded. Prayer became another invisible chain. 5 times daily, at exact moments, Fatma prayed special imperial ulama-composed pleas. Not free faith, but scripted to erase individuality, glorify total surrender to her husband. Prayer poses blended religious devotion with marital duty gestures, turning sacred into control tool. But humiliations didn't end there. Twice weekly, before the entire female court, Fatma served her father's favorite concubines personally, washing, combing, feeding them by hand, dressing them for Sultan's intimate encounters. This cruel ceremony aimed to shatter her last pride bastion, forcing her to accept even her father's lovers deserved her service. Witnesses noted Fatma often broke into uncontrollable sobs while adjusting those women's garments for the imperial bed. 1 week before the wedding, the regime intensified. Fatma moved to Gelin Köşkü, the bride's pavilion, isolated, no outside sounds penetrating. Every life aspect controlled. Foods like pomegranates, honey, almonds, goat's milk, Yemeni spices. Baths under purification experts watch, using oils scented with valerian, poppy, orange blossoms. These elixirs, brewed by alchemists trained in Cordoba and Samarkand, held secret substances inducing calm, docility, sometimes self-abandonment. Pavilion walls covered in tapestries weaving silk tales of exemplary Islamic and Ottoman wives. Obedient, fertile, submissive, promised heavenly rewards. And if visual hints weren't enough, strategically placed Venetian mirrors forced Fatma to watch herself during exercises, like self-surveillance, even in deepest thoughts. This practice, muraqaba, originally a Sufi mystic exercise, twisted here into a psychological weapon, making the princess police her own mind. In this isolation, Fatma realized her body, voice, thoughts, no longer hers. The preparation succeeded, not just taming her, but erasing the curious, smart girl who dreamed of the firmament. The big day arrived, March 15th, 1623. From dawn, Istanbul pulsed like an overflowing heart. Streets filled with processions, music, incense. Topkapi halls served banquets on golden plates. Dances from Persia and Andalusia, songs from empire's best musicians, janissary competitions showing prowess before the Sultan. Splendor so grand, the people thought it heaven's tribute. But for the young princess, prelude to condemnation. Chroniclers say while guests laughed and drank, Fatma sat silent, lips dry, gaze lost. Palace doctors noted what we'd call anxiety attacks, tremors, cold sweats despite March chill, total appetite loss, ragged breathing spells threatening her life. Public glory clashed with her inner terror, growing like a shadow. When the last cup raised and civilian guests left, the most feared procession began. Fatma escorted to the nuptial pavilion, a garden structure built on ancestral plans from Mehmed II's time. Octagonal, 3 levels, each for a rite, purification, surrender, consummation. Architecture no accident, every corner reinforced princess vulnerability, turning ceremony into total submission act. First level, Tahara Kata, purification, hours-long ritual baths on Carrara marble, waters scented with damask rose, jasmine, sandalwood, Somali ambergris. Alchemists applied ointments with diluted opium, mandrake extract, secret substances inducing calm and surrender. Doctors described the state as duty ecstasy. Body yields while soul screams silently. Second level, Teslim Kata, surrender. Fatma dressed in white silk bridal attire, gold threads, Persian Gulf pearls. Looked regal at first, but hidden clasps, inner cords eased body restraint. Crown heavy enough to limit moves. Anklets, bracelets discreetly restricted freedom. Thick-soled shoes prevented flight. The gown, a prison embroidered in luxury. While Fatma became duty symbol, her groom Kara Mustafa Pasha underwent different rites. Surrounded by advisors and war vets, he learned psychological dominance over an imperial princess. Intimidation methods, calculated humiliating phrases, physical control techniques, all set to ensure no room for doubt or resistance in this union. Finally, ascent to third level. Sifaf Kata, consummation chamber, walls draped in tapestries of military conquests, subdued cities, captive princesses, defeated armies. Iconography deliberate, paralleling battlefield victory with bed victory. Furniture by control expert artisans. Beds with hidden cord systems, cushions laced with calming oils, dim lights turning space into will-breaking stage. There, in that symbol-laden room, Fatma faced her most dreaded night. The teen, barely held by ragged breaths, became living pledge of political pact. Official chronicles spun the wedding as dynastic triumph. But in that room's silence, a tragedy brewed, marking her soul forever. When Sifaf Kata's door shut behind the procession, Fatma was alone with her husband. Medical documents describe those hours as total spirit collapse. The girl who'd endured months of discipline and humiliations lost all coherent response. Body shook uncontrollably, voice a barely audible murmur, eyes wandered like seeing an invisible world. Imperial doctors later called it Shokma Vetam, total shock. Kara Mustafa Pasha, battle-forged conqueror, was trained to impose authority. At first, he saw her reaction as willful resistance, pride to break harshly. He applied taught techniques, intimidating words, power gestures, calculated physical contact. But he found no rebellion, just complete soul crumble. No fight to win, but absence, void. Fatma wasn't there. Her mind fled into deep dissociation, abandoning body to survive. The marriage consummation, after failed hours-long attempts, was logged by hidden observers as traumatic for both. Coded Persian writings describe internal hemorrhages, recurrent fainting, what doctors called ruh sukmech, soul's exit. From that night, Fatma was never the same. In following days, her behavior alarmed even harshest harem instructors. Selective mutism set in, she whispered only to direct questions. Appetite vanished, needing force-feeding. Crying spells started randomly, lasting hours. Worse, what chroniclers called fear sickness. Any man's presence, even trusted eunuchs, triggered panic. Rapid breathing, extreme sweating, sudden faints. Court doctors diagnosed virginal melancholy, common among princesses post-wedding night, per their treatises. In modern terms, irreversible trauma, a psyche wound no simple remedy could heal. They tried herbs, music, Sufi spiritual exercises. None restored Fatma's old vitality. The brilliant debater, the curious astronomy lover, the poetry girl, gone forever. In her place, a dim, obedient, absent figure. Books stayed closed, musical instruments dusted over, joyful gardens abandoned. Born as mightiest sultan's daughter, now just a present body, a ghost of potential. Her marriage to Kara Mustafa Pasha became mechanical cohabitation. Children came, public acts happened, normalcy appeared. But intimacy, ruled by silence and distance. The Pasha himself, per later memoirs, escaped into military campaigns and opium, silencing guilt for being ritual's tool that destroyed the princess. Fatma lived 29 more years after that night, as ceremony ornament, forced mother, voiceless wife. Her 1652 death, officially cerebral fever, fell on her wedding anniversary. For many at court, no coincidence. That day, memory's weight sealed her soul shut. Fatma's case? Not unique, but a mirror of generations-long pattern. Palace archives, rescued from dust and silence centuries later, reveal dozens of Ottoman princesses suffered similarly. Some marked by mutism, others escaped via suicide or madness. A few vanished from official records, like they never existed. The empire's precise machinery erased awkward traces, coating them in euphemisms for carefully penned chronicles. Recently translated docs speak of princesses faking death to flee second marriages, others inventing secret codes to communicate with silenced sisters, some with unheard bravery, petitioning the sultan for divorce, defying unbreakable system. These tales, buried for centuries in forbidden basements and archives, show even deepest darkness held female resistance sparks. Fatma's tragedy, and so many like hers, strips bare an uncomfortable truth. Absolute power doesn't always shield its bearers. It can make them first victims of their own grandeur. While outsiders imagined Ottoman princesses in luxury and might, reality was invisible duty chains, precision designed by imperial mechanism, sacrificing lives for alliances and structures. Today, looking back, we see the harem wasn't just intrigues and silks. but imposed silences and stifled tears. What we were told as princess tales, really political constructs devouring sultans' own daughters. And that begs the question, how many other secrets still hide in ancient palace archives, waiting discovery? What shadowy rituals did European, Russian, or Chinese courts conceal? What true price did women pay to uphold their dynasty's greatness? If Fatma's story shook you, don't hesitate. Join us for next revelations. Subscribe, share this tale with those who deserve truth behind fairy tales, and comment the queen or princess whose fate you want unveiled. Maybe a Russian Tsarina feared by her mother, a Chinese empress in macabre rites, or European king's daughter pawned for alliance. Because only by knowing these hidden truths can we strip history's disguise and finally hear the drowned voices of those sacrificed for power.